Hi again, Stephen. Second recap, obviously just following on from our initial chat. Towards the end of the session, we worked predominantly on the change of direction. So as you were transitioning from backswing to downswing, and what we talked about was what should happen early in the piece. Previously, what was happening is we were thrusting up off the ground far too soon. So we use the graphs to illustrate that. I'll try and get this across the best I can. We're flexing forward at setup, so the spine is flexed forward. If you imagine you're looking at this down the line, so I'll put it on a down the line image to help. So the spine is flexed forward at setup. We appreciate that the spine extends during the backswing and straightens. The left tilt offsets this. And then what the player must do is the player must return to forward flexion in the early part of the swing. So in the early part of the downswing, we want the player's upper body to return to flexion before that player then fully extends and starts to thrust up through the ball. So the spine's always changing flex. It's going from flexion, the red line, to extension, the green line, back into flexion, the blue line, before fully extending past zero, the yellow line. So that's the sequence of moves we're looking for. And what happened with us is we tended to miss out the blue line. We would flex forward at setup because we want to reach the ball. We would extend to zero during the early part of that, or during the backswing. But we wouldn't return to flexion. We'd just start to thrust up, and if we do that, we're going to end up getting the club very much behind us, stuck underneath, as we saw in the previous footage from down the line. And we're also going to see that left shoulder get too high too soon. See the left leg straightening very quickly, so that's you pushing up. And as we push up, the shoulders never really get realigned. You can see the right shoulder lagging behind there. I mean, the shoulders are still half turned as you're coming into impact, and as we saw with people like Charlie Weed, Grant Waite, Tiger Woods, the models that we use, the shoulders were back into their original address position by delivery. So at P6, the shoulders and the body were back in their original, nearest damn it anyway, their original setup position, much more chest on to the golf ball. So we then discussed how turning the body is similar to getting back into flexion. So the idea, as you regain or return to your forward flex position, that's going to initiate the rotation during the downswing. Hopefully you've had a chance to read the chapter in the book that discusses the sequencing of the downswing, and you've now understand the points that I was making during the session. So whatever we've done on the backswing, we need to retrace by the time we get to P6 so that we can then thrust up during the through swing. So what we're seeing here now is your original swing. Sorry, these are a little bit out of order. I found this one late. I didn't realise this footage in the top centre was on there. This is you returning back into forward flexion with an iron. This is very early in the piece. And you can see as you do that, as you start to add flex to the lower body, the chest starts to realign with the golf ball. The right shoulder starts to work down and around, retracing the path it took during the backswing. And the club starts to continue to work down the plane rather than getting stuck behind the plane. One of the drills we had you do was to work with the ball well below your feet. And what I like about this drill for you is look how much better that setup position looks. We're more over it with the spine, the eyes are angled down, the handle's lower, the arms are outstretched a little bit more. We've got a little bit more flex in the knees. So this is introducing a lot of nice things for you that you need to work in on your game anyway. So short term, if you do go out and practice out on grass, try and find an area where the ball is slightly below your feet. That's going to encourage a lot of good things during your swing. This drill will encourage your arms to work up a little bit more, which was needed as per your previous recap. It will also encourage you to regain a little bit of flex and get the club coming out in front of you, or getting the club less behind you during the downswing and lining the shoulders up much better at impact. And we continue this drill down. You see a beautiful sort of rehearsed impact position there. Fantastic position. See how the right heel's not popping up as much? That right heel popping up is a sign that you're extending too fast. When we view it from face on and we try and add flex to the lower body, you can see the effect it has on the shoulders. So all we're doing here, we're not talking about rotation at this point, we're just adding flex to the right knee and putting the flex back in the hips. And you can see that in turn, we're allowing that return to flexion to bring the arms down. And you can see how that starts the body to rotate. Look how much more chest onto as you are during that rehearsal swing. And we look at it towards the end of the session with driver, adding flex to the lower body, bringing the club out in front of us. So adding flex to the lower body brings the club more out in front of us. And this was the piece that we really needed to work in there. And I'm just going to, for 1 second, get rid of these. And try and do a comparison between your rehearsal swing on the top left and your actual swing on the top left. Just find that swing again on here. Just bear with me 1 second. While that's loading, it was a great session, very productive, as you said in your email. I found it great fun. It was great to work with someone who's enthusiastic about stack and tilt, and also just golf in general. You strike me as someone who really wants to kick things on and progress things in the coming year. We find 3rd of January. Swing number 43. There we go. Double that up. Perfect. Okay, so what we've got here now on the left is your rehearsal swing. So you can see the really nice position at the top of the backswing. And then I'll just run this one through and find the actual shot. This will be a really nice way of you practicing during the weeks between now and when we get together next. So you can see there's a difference at P4, and it happens quite late. I really like that position, and then you just go looking for that extra turn at the top. Right hip drops back, left knee collapses, left shoulder turns too much. So you can see there that the more you make that rehearsal swing on the left, the more of that type of move you're going to get into your actual move. So this is an ongoing process, more of a mid-term goal. Keep making that rehearsal swing. Now, during your transition, the feeling is to add flex to the right knee, add flex to the lower body, really, right knee and hip. If you want to see a really great demonstration of this, look at Steve Barker's last couple of recaps. So if you go to my channel and look at Steve Barker, and you can see as the lower body gets back into flexion and the upper body returns to that chest on position, the club comes back down in front of us. In the actual swing, there isn't as much flex added to the hips, and there isn't as much flex added to the upper body. You can see the right heel starting to pop up. So if we look at some differences there, the club is more behind you, the right heel is more up, the shoulders are more turned. And again, you've just got to keep doing what you see on the left more and more and more, and condition yourself to more of this. So that's what we want. We want more and more of this adding to this movement. Side by side, that looks a stark contrast, but I can assure you at the start of your session, your swing was much more misaligned than you're seeing on the far right. So the far right image is much better than you started your session with. If we run that through to impact, your shoulders were nowhere near square with an iron at the start of your session. So whilst it isn't as good as your rehearsal swings, it's a massively improved action from the start to the end of your session, and we just need more of what you're seeing in your rehearsals when you're maxing things out and pushing things right to the other end of the spectrum. When you're using driver, just as a sub note, when you're using driver, one of the things we did discuss was just push the hips about an inch or 2 inches towards your target, just to create a little bit of side bend, which is essential for launching the ball higher. But keep that between me and you. It's a little bit of a secret that we don't want these people on forums knowing that stack and tilt can actually work with driver. So good luck with it. If you have any questions, like I say, feel free to find me an email across. Look forward to seeing how things progress, and obviously quite interested in how things pan out in Hong Kong in regards to potentially doing a school. That would be great. It'd be great to meet up with you at home and experience the life over there. More than anything, it'd be great to spread the word about a really good way of swinging a golf club. Good luck with it, and I look forward to meeting up with you again later in 2014. Well done.